You know, the number one excuse is I don't have enough time. But the reality is we all have enough time. I always tell people there's 168 hours in a week. If you get 8 hours sleep a night, well, there's 50 plus hours gone. You still have 110, 112 hours left. If you work 60 hours a week, you still have 55 hours left to go do what's important to you. So I don't really buy the time excuse, but that's the number one excuse that I hear. The number two excuse is I don't know how. But we're fortunate, like people rip on social media, but we're fortunate to live in a day and age where with the click of a button, you have access to a wealth of information. Whatever it is you're interested in, doing push-ups, deadlifting, doing squats, it doesn't matter. You can find some good quality information with a click of a button. So the whole I don't know how, that's not an excuse either. And those are the two most common ones. What it really comes down to is people just don't want it bad enough. Because I've seen countless examples of people that will say they don't have time, that say they don't know how, but when something becomes important enough for them, they figure it out. So the number one thing that I do, and this is a lesson I learned a long time ago, I pay myself first. Fitness is important to me. It's the foundation on which everything else in my life sits. So the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, I have a cold plunge. The second thing I do, I eat a breakfast that's nutrient dense and nutrient rich. And the third thing I do is I go train. I pay myself first by starting every single day. And when I tell you every single day, I mean every single day. When I start off my day by investing in myself, I set the tone for the rest of my life and everything else falls into place because I've set a precedent that I'm important, that I'm worth it, that I matter. I want to add one more thing to that. A lot of people look at investing in yourself as taking care of yourself as selfish. I actually think it's the most selfless act you can engage in. Because if you're no good to yourself, you can't be good for anybody else. And so by working on yourself, by improving yourself, by valuing yourself, you literally make every single person in your orbit, in your circle, better. And I always say this, imagine the global totality of every single person in this world focused on their health and their happiness, how much better the world would be in just 30 days. If people could just put themselves first for 30 days, and like I said, focus on their health and their happiness, in 30 days, we'd see a remarkable change on this planet. So I tell people, invest in you first, and then you have the energy, the drive, the passion to just uplift everybody else in your circle. You know, I want to cover off 3 points first, because people get focused on an exercise. They always ask me, what's the one exercise I could do to change my life? What's the one thing I could eat? What's that secret superfood that's going to make all my fitness dreams come true? And the reality is, there's a lot of things out there that work. So I've got 3 rules before we even worry about exercise. Rule number 1 is show up. And we covered that off earlier in this interview, but show up every single day, invest in yourself. The second rule, be all in. When you're here, when you're in a physical space, when you're working out, I don't want your eyes on the TV. I don't want you text messaging. I don't want you playing on social media. I want you to be 100% present. I want you to be all in and get the most out of your time. And the third thing, don't be afraid to ask questions. Be curious, be childlike, learn. If you can do those 3 things, you will be 100% successful no matter what exercise you're doing. That said, I'm a big believer when it comes to exercise in focusing on the basics. There's always some video of a fitness influencer waving around a couple of dumbbells, standing on an upside down Bosu ball. That stuff doesn't work. The tried, the true, the classics are the best. Sprinting, squatting, push-ups, sit-ups, and pull-ups. You do those 5 movements, there's nothing that you can't do. Movement. We were meant to run. We're bipedal creatures. Like if you were to take man and put us back 10,000 years, 15,000 years, 20,000 years, our legs were our primary means of locomotion. It's literally the most primal human movement there is. We talked about being busy. We talked about being bogged down with jobs, family, other commitments. Sprints are the most bang for your buck. You can get an incredible amount of work done in a short period of time. Volume is the key. Again, it goes back to the principle. If you want to get good at something, do it every single day. Now, I want to talk a little bit about math. Imagine you just did 50 push-ups a day. 50. That might not seem like a lot, but if you did 50 push-ups a day every day of the year, by the end of the year, you'd accumulate 18,600 reps. My question to you is, have you done 18,600 push-ups in your life? And the answer is probably not. So if you just showed up to the gym and you did 50 push-ups, and you did 50 pull-ups, and you did 50 squats, and you did 50 sit-ups, those 4 movements that we talked about, and then you did a little bit of sprinting to cool down, so to speak, imagine what your fitness level would be at the end of the year. You know, we fall into this practice, we fall into this trap of sets and reps and convoluted workout schemes. Just show up to the gym and play. Just show up and have fun. Just accumulate work and watch what happens to you after 30, 60, 90, 180 days. The effect is, it's dramatic and incredible. Never mind the gym. Let's forget about that for a minute. Let's say you're a dad or you're a mom out there. You have kids. You're struggling. You work 10 hours a day. Your kids are in daycare. You have to pick them up. You have to spend quality time with them. Life's hard and you've got priorities. What if you didn't go to the gym, but just while you were at your job, every hour on the hour, you got up and did 5 push-ups, 5 squats, and 5 sit-ups? What if that's all you did? You would still get your 50 reps of each. By the end of the year, if you did that every day, you get your 18,600 reps. You can be fit without ever stepping foot in the gym and without sacrificing the other things that are really important to you. So I tell people, just focus on accumulating volume. Just focus on accumulating numbers. It's a lot more simple than you think. Every minute matters. 5 minutes is better than no minutes. 10 minutes is better than 5 minutes. 15 minutes is better than 10 minutes, and so on. And so every bit of work that you can do will get you closer to your goal. The simple truth of the matter is, if you're showing up to the gym and you're not seeing a result, you need to work harder. It goes back to that be-all-in thing I talked about. You have to suffer a little bit. You have to put yourself in a state of discomfort. Growth shouldn't be easy. Stop looking for shortcuts. Stop looking to make things a breeze. You've got to learn to suffer. You've got to put yourself in a bit of an uncomfortable position. And if you can do that, then the results that have eluded you, you'll start to see them. Every person needs to be their own hero. You need to be the hero of your own story. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to help you. So a long time ago, I decided to be my hero. Bruce Wayne had Batman. Clark Kent had Superman. Robert McDonald has Bobby Maximus. Back to my life is so much more than working out. You see me in Men's Health. You saw me fight in the UFC. You see me at the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu World Championships. But that's not my entire life. I love Magic the Gathering. I love Lord of the Rings. I love Star Wars. I'm really excited for this new Disney. I'm not trying to pump Disney, by the way, but this new Percy Jackson series. I'm on the edge of my seat, like trying to get to it. I'm going to watch it with my boys tonight. But those are things in life that really bring me joy, that really bring me excitement. This new Rebel Moon series by Zack Snyder is another one I really, really want to watch. It drops today, so I'm super excited about that. But these are things that bring me so much joy and so much passion. And I want to show the world. We try to typecast people. We try to fit people in a box. That you can be fit. You can look good, but it doesn't have to be your whole life. You can be all these other things. I was bullied heavily growing up. And when I mean bullied, people punched me in the face every day. They ripped my underwear out. They drew on my face with marker. I used to have to wash it off before my mom would see, because she would tell the other parents, and then I would get it even worse. But I was bullied for a lot of these things. But there came a point in my life that I learned the most important lesson that I could ever teach you. The 10 words that will ruin your life are what will other people say and what will other people think. So whoever you are, wherever you are, do you. Enjoy what you want to enjoy. And if other people don't like it, that's more of a reflection of who they are versus who you are. So growing up, I was bullied fairly heavily. I talked about that. Like I said, kids punched me in the face, they ripped my underwear out, they drew on my face. And it all culminated for me, like we're gonna talk about my origin story right now, the origin story of Bobby Maximus. It all culminated for me when these 4 kids beat me up and broke my collarbone. I was scared, I felt alienated, I felt isolated, and honestly, I didn't know what else to do. So I joined the wrestling team. I was cut from every other team I tried out for, but the wrestling team needed bodies, people to beat up, so they accepted me. My first year, I lost every single match, 40 straight matches I took it out. But I kept trying. And why did I keep trying? Because it was better than getting bullied. Trying to make a way out was better than doing nothing. My second year, I won 1 match out of 40 matches. And I'll never forget that 1 match that I won filled me with so much joy, so much hope. I was hooked. From that moment, I made myself a promise. I was going to win again and again and again. And the way I was going to do it was by working hard. I might not have been the most talented person, might have not been born with the greatest genetics, but there was nobody that would outwork me, and nobody had my level of perseverance or desire. So I just kept working. And then a funny thing happened. A lot of those L's started to turn into W's. I started to win more than I lost. As I won, my confidence grew. As my confidence grew, I worked harder. I wanted it more. And then I found myself a high-level collegiate wrestler. I was second in the world for amateur kickboxing at one point, and then I found myself in the UFC. And you know, we could talk about, yeah, I had some good trainers. Yeah, I worked with some incredible people and some incredible sparring partners, but it was all built on those 3 things I keep talking about: showing up, being all in, and asking some questions along the way.